yang pernah terlibat dalam sejarah perjuangan bangsa Papua. Mengapa kami harus mempertahankan kebenaran sejarah itu? Karena tanpa sejarah tidak mungkin kami akan berjuang untuk Papua Merdeka ini. Keterlibatan organisasi Papua Merdeka adalah organisasi yang sangat solid, memiliki sejarah yang cukup kuat, sehingga di mana kita sekalian bisa mengetahui bahwa organisasi Papua Merdeka itu betul-betul bertumbuh dengan kuat dan subur dalam perjuangan bangsa Papua dari 0 tahun sampai dengan sekarang ini sudah mulai memasuki 60 tahun. Jadi dalam pandangan kolonial, dalam pandangan kapitalis, bahkan dalam pandangan orang Papua, semua ketahui bahwa siapapun yang berbeda pikiran dengan NKRI kolonial, dia adalah OPM. Biarpun dia pastor kah, dia dicap OPM. Biarpun dia perempuan yang biasa tidak bicara Papua Merdeka secara direct, tetapi dia akan dicap OPM karena OPM itu merupakan organisasi satu-satunya yang sudah eksis sangat lama, sehingga kami sangat perlu sekali menjelaskan kepada seluruh rakyat Papua terhadap eksistensi organisasi ini. Mengapa OPM itu dia kuat? Karena ada beberapa faktor di dalam OPM yang sudah diketahui oleh seluruh dunia dan juga yang sudah diketahui oleh Indonesia sendiri. Yang pertama adalah organisasi Papua Merdeka. Ya, silakan bisa jelaskan itu.
Ya, maaf ya. I just want to translate a bit before it goes a bit further. So, Chairman Bomanak has already started with the historical part, the importance of the history of the struggle for independence of West Papua. Why do we have to uphold that history? OPM is an organization which is solid, is strong. It was able to start from 0 to 60 years on, still exist as an entity fighting the Indonesian oppressor. So, in the view of the Indonesians, in the view of the colonizer, in the view of the capitalists, but also in the view of the West Papuans, when somebody is out there just fighting for their own rights, even if they are not even members of the OPM. So you could be a pastor, you could be a woman who is there, but not necessarily part of the resistance movement. You could be somebody, a student, all of them. The Indonesians would see them as OPM, and they say it as well. You are OPM, you are rejecting the West Papua, the Indonesian colonization. So that is a fact. The OPM is seen, is perceived also, and it is true as the organization which has been there representing the West Papuan struggle for independence since the beginning. So Jeffrey was going to start explaining about where does it take its strength from.
Baik, terima kasih. Jadi terima kasih buat kami ingin menjelaskan lebih daripada itu lagi. Bahwa OPM itu sudah bukan jadi milik orang Papua sendiri. OPM itu merupakan simbol daripada kebenaran. OPM itu merupakan simbol daripada demokrasi. OPM itu merupakan simbol daripada justice. OPM itu merupakan simbol daripada human right. Karena OPM sedang mempertahankan semua nilai-nilai kemanusiaan dan kebenaran. Oleh sebab itu, kita bisa lihat bahwa di seluruh dunia, semua orang yang mendukung perjuangan bangsa Papua, mereka merasa bahwa itu sesuatu yang harus mereka mendukung. Jadi, contohnya di Papua New Guinea, di sini ada berada saya Chairman dari PNG Union for Free West Papua, Tuan Ken Mondiai. Sebelum dia menjadi presiden daripada PNG Union for Free West Papua, dia sudah menyatakan bahwa dia OPM. Kemudian, bukan hanya dia saja, tetapi beberapa pendukung-pendukung anggota parlemen di Papua New Guinea di sini dan juga di Vanuatu, di Solomon Island, kemudian di beberapa negara misalnya di Australia banyak yang menyatakan diri bahwa mereka adalah anggota OPM atau mereka adalah OPM, pendukung keras OPM, yang mereka berjuang dan mendukung perjuangan bangsa Papua secara langsung dan tidak langsung. Di situ adalah karena OPM itu merupakan organisasi yang berbicara soal kemanusiaan, menentang semua ketidakadilan di tanah Papua.
So the OPM itself, after all these years of struggling, has become not only something that the West Papuans can own, but it has become an entity which has represented all the values that are present in today's societies in the world that people struggle for. The OPM has become a symbol of truth, a symbol of democracy, a symbol of justice, a symbol of humanity, those values that we fight for. And because those are the values that we fight for, those are also recognized by the rest of the world. And that is why people around the world know the OPM. They know the OPM as that organization that struggled for those values. And that is why they feel they have to support it. And you have examples today, so where Chairman Bomanak is, we're in Papua New Guinea, where you have the Papua PNG Union for Free West Papua, NGOs that are supporting the OPM because of those very values that we stand for. You have parliamentarians who support the OPM. You have in other countries in the Pacific, the OPM has always stood for those values and has received support throughout the years since the beginning, 70s, the 80s, for the struggle for Free West Papua.
Baik. Selanjutnya daripada itu, mengapa OPM dikatakan memiliki eksistensi yang cukup kuat dan memiliki legitimasi? Hal pertama yang terpenting sekali yang harus diketahui oleh kita sekalian yang belum menyadari bahwa hanya organisasi Papua Merdeka yang ada pada kebenaran sejarah, dia inline ketika Perserikatan Bangsa-Bangsa dengan nomor resolusi oleh PBB nomor 1514 telah memberikan otoritas kepada pemerintah Belanda untuk membentuk embrio negara Papua Barat, sehingga Belanda dengan posisi Papua Barat saat itu sebagai Dewan Ikuni telah mempersiapkan negara Papua Barat dan disahkan dalam Dewan Ikuni pada 1 Desember 61. Setelah Dewan Ikuni dipersiapkan untuk membentuk embrio negara bangsa Papua pada 1 Desember 61, kemudian Belanda memberikan 10 tahun, setelah itu harus ada deklarasi kemerdekaan. Jadi setelah 10 tahun itu dari 61 sampai 71, Belanda mendidik orang Papua untuk bagaimana bisa mengerti tentang dasar-dasar negara, yaitu lagu kebangsaan, bendera negara, bahasa, dan juga sistem pemerintahan bagaimana untuk orang Papua bisa beroperasi. Setelah 10 tahun itu, dengan penuh kesadaran politik, orang Papua harus berdiri dan mendeklarasikan dirinya dalam membuat sebuah proklamasi yang sah, yaitu disebut dengan Proklamasi 1 Juli 71. Jadi setelah Perserikatan Bangsa-Bangsa memberikan otoritas kepada Belanda untuk membentuk embrio negara West Papua, setelah dibentuk embrio negara West Papua itu, Belanda memberikan 10 tahun. Setelah 10 tahun itu, tepat 61 sampai 71, orang Papua dengan penuh kesadaran dan menentang PPRA dan menentang semua konspirasi internasional dalam New York Agreement, Roma Agreement, itu menolak semua konspirasi internasional, dan orang Papua mendeklarasikan sebagai sebuah negara dengan penuh kesadaran. Dan itu dibacakan proklamasi secara sah. Proklamasi itu terjadi 1 tahun, proklamasi itu terjadi 1 kali dalam catatan sejarah bangsa Papua. Tidak akan pernah ada proklamasi 1, 2, dan 3. Hanya ada 1 proklamasi, yaitu 1 Juli 71. Hanya ada 1 konstitusi, yaitu konstitusi 1 Juli 71. Hanya ada 1 militer dan hanya ada 1 organisasi. Karena itu OPM memiliki eksistensi yang kuat sampai detik ini.
And so Chairman Bomanak goes back to history, to the very foundation as to why the OPM stood up. He goes back to when the Dutch received the instruction, basically, of the United Nations to prepare its colonies in its resolution regarding colonized territories. So the Dutch kingdom, which was basically the colonizer at the time in the 60s, up until the 60s, started preparing for that. And they started preparing, or they endeavored, they tried to prepare the Papuan people towards their independence. And they did so with the New Guinea Council, which came to life in 1961. And another date which is of importance is the 1st of December 1961, which is the day when the Dutch colonial authority in those days recognized the flag, the national symbols of the West Papuans. So there was a flag, there was a national anthem, there was also a name for this new territory, which was going to become an independent state, which was West Papua. Now, the intention of the Dutch was that after 10 years, that territory would become independent, because the Papuan people would have gained enough self-awareness about what it meant to be independent, and that they would be ready to become independent after 10 years. The West Papuans themselves, of course, knew everything about independence. They were independent before the colonizers came. And they waited for those 10 years, and nothing happened except for the conspiracy of the former colonizers who wanted to change the way the West Papuans wanted to become an independent state. So despite all this conspiracy, which was based on the false implementation of the New York Agreement, the Rome Agreement, all these agreements that they signed behind the backs and without telling the West Papuans, the West Papuans basically said in 1971, we're going to implement whatever it is that is legal for us, and that was put by the United Nations when they asked the Dutch to decolonize their territories, including West Papua. So the West Papuans themselves decided to proclaim an independent West Papua, which happened on the 1st of July, 1971. That proclamation is basically the reason why the OPM is so strong, because such a proclamation happens only once, and it determines the future of the struggle. It also brings a clear message to the world about the true wish of the West Papuan people, which is an independent West Papua. So that is the main reason why the OPM is so strong, because countries around the world were able to also see for themselves that the West Papuans had declared this independence, despite all this conspiracy which happened in 1969, before that in 1967. So that is the main reason why the OPM is strong. The 1st of July, 1971 Constitution and Proclamation. We seem to have lost Jeffrey.
You all long up.
You're back. You're back. Jeffrey and Ken, you're back. Yeah.
Okay. Jadi kami melanjutkan lagi bahwa seandainya kalau tidak ada embrio negara 1 Desember 61, kalau tidak ada satu deklarasi dan proklamasi 1 Juli 71, itu berarti kedudukan kolonial dan kapitalis itu akan kuat di Papua Barat. Tetapi seluruh generasi muda, seluruh pejuang-pejuang Papua, kita harus bersyukur dan berterima kasih kepada sejarah kita, kepada pelaku-pelaku sejarah kita, karena adanya 1 Desember 61 sebagai embrio negara Papua Barat, dan deklarasi dan proklamasi 1 Juli dan ada konstitusi 1 Juli 71, maka itu bangsa Papua masih tetap kuat dan masih diakui di seluruh dunia. Di situ kekuatan kita yang harus dimengerti oleh semua generasi saat ini dan pendukung-pendukung perjuangan yang ada di Papua Barat, bahkan yang ada di seluruh dunia.
So that particular, if there had not been a 1961 embryo that is facilitated by the Dutch, an embryo state that was facilitated by the Dutch, West Papuan. If the 1st of December 1961 had not existed, if in 1971 our seniors had not decided to declare an independent West Papua, then all these, we would not be that strong. The OPM would not be that strong, and we would not be able to claim what it is that we are claiming today, which is the right to have an independent West Papua. So our thanks and gratitude goes to our seniors who have created the path that is already there and who have given us the strong basis, and that is what the people of West Papua must understand. There is already a strong basis in history up until today, which exists up until today, which makes it possible for us to go on fighting, and not only to go on fighting, but to go on fighting with so much strength, because it is a very strong basis.
Baik. Oleh sebab itu, kita semua harus mengakui, seluruh rakyat bangsa Papua semua harus mengakui bahwa kita hanya punya satu konstitusi 1 Juli. Konstitusi itu pernah dibentuk dan disahkan secara resmi oleh pemerintahan Republik Sementara Papua Barat. Pemerintahan ini sudah pernah berjalan. Kita bisa melihat eksistensinya pemerintahan ini berjalan bahwa ada militer kita yang disebut dengan Tentara Pembebasan Nasional Papua Barat. Militer itu dia eksis mulai dari tahun 1973 sampai detik ini. Kami juga mengakui bahwa terjadi infiltrasi terhadap perjuangan bangsa Papua yang dilakukan oleh kolonial untuk menghancurkan perjuangan kita. Tetapi setelah infiltrasi dalam pemerintahan Konstitusi 1 Juli itu, militer sebagai pemegang dan pakar negara mempertahankan wilayah de facto masih terus berjuang sampai detik ini. Militer Tentara Pembebasan Nasional Papua Barat yang berjuang dari sudah 58 tahun ini, mereka mempertahankan keputusan rakyat Papua dalam organisasi Papua Merdeka. Itu merupakan keputusan kolektif. OPM itu merupakan payung yang terdiri dari semua organisasi politik yang melahirkan Konstitusi 1 Juli 71. Dan semua banyak asumsi bisa mengatakan bahwa bisa membentuk pemerintahan-pemerintahan yang baru dengan konstitusi yang baru, tetapi legitimasi dan eksistensinya tidak kuat karena itu tidak diperkuatkan oleh sebuah tentara yang bisa berdiri dan mempertahankan konstitusi itu. Itu perbedaan antara OPM dengan organisasi yang lain. Sehingga itu mesti harus dihargai oleh organisasi-organisasi dan faksi-faksi yang lain. Karena OPM sudah terlalu lama menghargai faksi-faksi yang lain. Tetapi saatnya untuk mempertahankan eksistensi ini, untuk membelah perjuangan ini, kami generasi yang baru kembali menguatkan fondasi yang sudah ditaruh oleh orang-orang tua kami. Jadi kekuatan OPM, kekuatan perjuangan bangsa Papua, eksistensinya itu masih dipertahankan oleh militer. Walaupun pemerintahan tidak aktif, tetapi militer itu tetap masih aktif sampai detik ini. Mereka tetap mengawal konstitusi itu, mereka tetap mengawal keputusan itu, mereka tetap mengawal embrio yang dibuat oleh pemerintah Belanda pada tahun 61, dan mereka tetap mengawal resolusi Perserikatan Bangsa-Bangsa yang dikeluarkan pada tahun 1514. Jadi di situ kekuatan kita. OPM dan TPN bisa mampu menjaga sebuah aspirasi perjuangan bangsa Papua. Kalau OPM, TPN, kalau militer kita tidak menjaga aspirasi perjuangan bangsa Papua, itu berarti perjuangan ini sudah mati dari lama.
it is necessary, and this message is towards the people of West Papua. It is necessary to understand and to recognize the strength of the Constitution and the Proclamation of the 1st of July 1971. This proclamation and constitution were made by, at the time, a government, a provisional government of West Papuans, representing the West Papuans. And that government was fortified or strengthened by the fact that it had a military which was already there and which has existed ever since. Since the modern version of that military started existing in the 70s, in 1973. So strengthened by that military, which we call the TPNPB, the West Papua National Liberation Army, the OPM was able to continue its struggle. There have been infiltrations within the movement throughout history, just like any other movements, freedom movements throughout the world. There have been infiltrations caused by the colonizers or forces within. But up until today, this army, which is the West Papua National Liberation Army, the TPNPB, still exists, and it still stands strong. And thanks to its existence, the OPM continues. The OPM at the time was meant as an umbrella organization, where all the organizations that wanted to struggle for the independence of West Papua are welcome to join. And these organizations or groups, even individuals, are welcome to join the OPM in the knowledge that it is very strong, that it stands on this constitution and this proclamation, and on the fact that our military still stands strong. If the military does not exist anymore, if it falls, the struggle falls. So that is the reason why the military has to be maintained, and as the branch that is there to guarantee the continuation of the struggle. It is one of the strengths of the OPM.
Baik. Jadi asumsinya bahwa OPM itu bukan sebuah organisasi yang tidak ada strukturnya secara jelas. Bahwa OPM itu organisasi perjuangan Papua Merdeka yang sedang dikelola oleh kami, yang sekarang ini kami sedang melanjutkan kepemimpinan yang ke-9 setelah kepemimpinan pertama yang mulai dibuka markas Victoria pada tanggal 12 Juni 1969 yang dipimpin oleh Tuan Jacob Rai dan Jeffery Jeffrey sebagai presiden dan Jacob Rai sebagai kepala senat dalam konstitusi 1 Juni, dan kemudian itu dia kirim mulai dari tahun 69 sampai 78 di Victoria. Kemudian kepemimpinan kedua yang dipimpin mulai dari tahun 1978 sampai tahun 1980 oleh Martin Tabo dan Jeffery Jeffrey. Kemudian kepemimpinan yang ketiga dipimpin oleh Elki Bemei, Jeffery Jeffrey, sampai kepemimpinan yang terakhir itu dipimpin oleh Jenderal Matias Wenda dan Lukas Tabuni. Kemudian di markas Victoria telah terjadi banyak infiltrasi oleh kolonial Indonesia. Tetapi kami bersyukur karena sekitar 13 tahun setelah kevakuman terjadi dalam markas Victoria, kami mencoba membangun kembali markas Victoria, yang dimana kami mampu mengambil dan kami mampu membalance semua situasi di markas Victoria dalam tantangan-tantangan internal. Itu hal yang biasa bagi perjuangan di seluruh dunia. Yang pasti Indonesia tidak akan pernah membiarkan kami, sudah dari mulai sejak Rai dan Rumperen, mulai terjadi kudeta, terjadi infiltrasi, sampai dengan kepemimpinan kami terakhir yang dipimpin oleh Matias Wenda dan Niko Ipohau, itu terjadi infiltrasi, dan kami mencoba membangun markas itu selama 13 tahun. Finalnya tanggal 12 Februari 2017 kami terpilih secara resmi di markas Victoria. Kami tidak dipilih di luar negeri, di Vanuatu, di negara-negara mana, tapi kami dipilih dalam konstitusi Perjuangan Bangsa Papua Konstitusi 1 Juli 71, dan kami dikukuhkan secara resmi oleh Dewan Militer di markas Victoria, dan kepemimpinan itu kami sedang melanjutkan.
The OPM, many questions have always been asked about the OPM, about its structure, what's about its headquarters in liberated territory of Marcus Victoria. There have been at least 9 generation of leadership that have been leading the OPM since the beginning. The first ones who are the decorators of, or the proclamators of the first July 1971 Proclamation and Constitution, Mr. Prai and Mr. Rungkorem. Rungkorem was the president and Mr. Prai was the head of Senate, according to the Constitution. They led the first leadership of the struggle. A second wave came afterwards with Mr. Tabu and Yarisatao, and then after that a third up to number 9. There have been infiltration within the movement, within Marcus Victoria since then, which is the reason why for a while there might have been some unclarity about what is happening in Marcus Victoria. However, for the past 13 years, the new leadership has worked towards fighting against this infiltration of the Indonesians into the military ranks and the leadership ranks of Marcus Victoria and of the OPM. So for 13 years, you could say there was, before that there was a vacuum, and for 13 years there's been a sort of a operation to make sure that everything is clear again. And in 2017, the process started, which started before, where a new leadership was elected, and Chairman Jeffery Bomanak was elected as the chairman of the OPM by the elders in Marcus Victoria. So he was elected on liberated territory, which basically is West Papua, and he was elected there officially by the OPM itself. He was also, well, what he stresses is that he was not elected somewhere else, in Vanuatu or in other countries. No, he was elected in West Papua liberated territory on the basis of the 1st of July Constitution and Proclamation.
Baik, kami menyadari dan kami ingin menekankan bahwa pemerintahan itu belum dibubarkan dari kabinet 1 sampai kabinet 3. Jadi terjadi kevakuman, tetapi jabatan penting dalam pemerintahan Konstitusi 1 Juli itu, kami telah, Perjuangan Bangsa Papua telah menunjukkan eksistensinya, bahwa kami diterima dan kami punya kantor secara resmi di Senegal. Itu pernah ada dalam catatan dokumen negara-negara di Afrika Caribbean. Kemudian di Pasifik juga kami punya kantor dan kami punya dokumen secara resmi di Vanuatu. Jadi eksistensi kami dan semua kekuatan aset-aset perjuangan ini dibangun oleh organisasi Papua Merdeka dan Tentara Kebebasan Nasional Papua Barat. Dan kami yakin bahwa militer masih tetap eksis, konstitusi masih tetap ada, pemerintahan masih tetap ada, dan itu akan reform kembali dalam kabinet keempat. Kabinet 1 Juli yang keempat. Itu akan menjadi agenda kami ke depan dan akan kami laksanakan.
another factor which determines the strength of the 1st of July, of the OPM, of the Constitution and the Proclamation is the fact that there has been recognition by third countries of our struggle and of the Constitution of the 1st of July 1971. Countries in Africa recognized it, countries in the Caribbean also recognized it at some stage, and those who led towards the recognition by foreign states of our struggle and of our constitutions, we consider as assets of the OPM, because it was done by the OPM, and it reinforces the continuation of the struggle within history. So the idea is for the OPM to go towards strengthening of this recognition by more states, and also to go towards what could help the recognition of this constitution, be it a fourth cabinet as it used to exist, as I said at the beginning, with the first provisional government of West Papua.
Maka itu kalau ada asumsi dari organisasi baru atau new organization, kami tetap menghargai semua organisasi dan semua fraksi dalam perjuangan bangsa Papua. Tapi kalau ada asumsi yang menyatakan bahwa OPM sudah tidak ada, sekarang ada organisasi ini. OPM sudah tidak ada, sekarang ada ULMBP. OPM sudah tidak ada, sekarang ada ini. Konstitusi ini sudah tidak ada, sekarang ganti ini. Itu semua tidak benar. OPM tidak mati, OPM masih eksis sampai detik ini. OPM punya militer, TPN masih perang sampai detik ini. Kami masih berdiri di atas prinsip-prinsip sejarah yang benar. Kami masih tetap ada dalam konstitusi kami yang ada. OPM masih menjalankan konstitusi 1 Juli 71. Jadi semua asumsi yang dikatakan oleh organisasi apapun itu tidak benar. Bahwa OPM masih tetap hidup sampai 58 tahun menuju 59 tahun. Kami masih tetap eksis.
So the assumptions by third parties that the OPM is no longer exists, that the organization itself is no longer there, is wrong. It is false. The OPM is there. It is still strong, thanks to the basis that I've just explained, and we will going to go on existing until West Papua is free. The OPM is an organization which aims to free West Papua. So we appreciate, we respect every organization, every human being, every group that wants independence, but the assumptions lately that have been uttered saying that the OPM no longer exists is false. We are there. The OPM is still there. It is still strong, and it will go on.
Itulah sebabnya pada tanggal 31 Februari 2019 organisasi Papua Merdeka didukung oleh Papua New Guinea Union for Free West Papua, PJ Council of Churches, Parlemen di Papua New Guinea, dan semua rakyat Papua New Guinea, rakyat Melanesia yang ada di West Papua dan Papua New Guinea. Kami bersama-sama kembalikan dan mengingatkan kepada dunia bahwa kami kembali menguatkan bahwa perang Tentara Pembebasan Nasional Papua Barat adalah perang yang legal. Kami bukan perang di tempat orang lain, kami bukan perang untuk mencuri barang orang lain, tapi kami perang karena kami mempertahankan hak-hak kami. Hal itu kami sudah deklarasikan secara resmi di Parlemen dalam konferensi pers yang kami lakukan pada 31 Februari 2019. Dan kami akan tetap mempertahankan itu.
And that is why on the 31st of January 2019, in Port Moresby, in Papua New Guinea, the groups that supported us, including the Papua PNG Union for Free West Papua, the churches, the parliamentarians there, recognized that the OPM still exists, and that one of the means to get there is war. Not an illegal war where you are basically going to somebody else's country to steal their wealth or to colonize. No, the war that is conducted in West Papua by the National Liberation Army is a legal war which is there to struggle for independence. The aim is independence. It is our understanding of what we are doing.
Pesan kami soal sejarah yang singkat ini, kami tahu ada banyak keterangan, tapi ini merupakan pengantar saja. Tetapi pesan kami ada dua. Pertama, kepada seluruh rakyat bangsa Papua, bahwa mari semua organisasi, semua fraksi, kami OPM menghargai cara dan bentuk perjuangan Anda dimanapun Anda berjuang untuk kebebasan rakyat Papua. Tetapi Anda harus tahu bahwa akar daripada pohon perjuangan itu adalah OPM. Anda faksi-faksi yang lain itu seperti tidak punya branch, ranting, seperti tidak punya bunga, seperti tidak punya daun. Tetapi Anda semua harus menyadari bahwa akar itu tertanam kuat, bertumbuh kuat, dan tidak akan pernah dipatahkan oleh siapapun, adalah OPM. Hanya satu saja. Jadi ketika Anda mau mencoba untuk mengubah apa yang ditanamkan oleh leluhur kita yang sudah berdasarkan kebenaran, nanti kita akan menjadi bagian daripada kolonial. Itu khusus untuk semua pejuang-pejuang dan faksi-faksi perjuangan bangsa Papua. OPM tidak pernah membedakan Anda, tapi jangan kita menghancurkan dasar sejarah. Kami juga menghargai perjuangan bangsa-bangsa di Afrika, kami juga menghargai perjuangan bangsa-bangsa di seluruh dunia, bahwa Anda pernah berjuang dan merdeka mempertahankan kebenaran sejarah yang ada pada sejarah Anda. Sama seperti itu kami juga ada berjuang, sehingga dukungan Anda kepada perjuangan bangsa Papua sangat penting bagi perjuangan kami. Tetapi kami tidak akan pernah mengerti dan mempersilahkan Anda untuk masuk mendukung perjuangan bangsa Papua untuk menghancurkan sejarah kami, untuk menghancurkan OPM, untuk menghancurkan kami. Untuk itu sesuatu hal yang kami perlu pesan dan perlu digarisbawahi dalam pesan-pesan sejarah kami yang terakhir.
Okay, it was a bit difficult. I had a technical problem.
Sure.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I only heard the beginning of the. There's an appeal from Chairman Bomanak to understand that the OPM is the root, the parent organization. It has roots and it is very strong. And other organizations may try to change it or to say that it does not exist anymore, but it's impossible because the OPM is there and it is there to stay. That's where I stopped hearing. So I think there was a bit of a technical issue.
Yeah, thank you. While we're waiting for, I think Bomanak, but Jeffrey has gone off the scene again. So maybe we'll probably just get Ken. Hang on, let me see. Ken. Hang on, I'll get Ken to come in. I'll see if I can get Ken to come back. Hang on. All right. Jeffrey or Ken, if you guys are still there, if you could just come back, and then we have a few more minutes to maybe finish it off. See if we can get both of them to come back. Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you, audience. Yeah, basically, if you have seen, you've heard the response from the statement from the chairman, Jeffery Bomanak, and it was again well response translated in English by Leonie. OPM is the root organization, or I would say the mother organization, and we will still maintain maintain it. We're not going to divert our attention from the original cause, because that's the history. That's part of our history. So, and we will. One of the good question by, I think, Veronica. I saw on. She commented and she said that. Is OPM going to take up international diplomacy work as well? Maybe Leonie, you wanna answer that part. You wanna let our audience know about that. Is OPM going to take up international diplomacy work as well?
The, the it doesn't actually have any choice but to take on the diplomacy work as well. Once you decide to have that you have proclaimed the 1st of July 1971 as a declaration of independence, basically, what you do is you send the message to friendly countries. That was done in the past, and it is being done now. And that is how relationship is built between countries, between governments. And it is mainly the recognition of other governments that will bring about the recognition of an independent West Papua by the international community. What is happening today is that we have a very strong civil society, which is very strong, and we admire them for that in West Papua. They are able to do so much. They are lobbying the United Nations in relation to the issue of human rights, which is something that is not against the Indonesian constitution. What the West Papuans are doing in West Papua, all these NGOs, all the church organizations, the women organizations are doing what they need to do. And that is what you see today, the result of the PIF, the MSG, and all the other institutions putting the emphasis on what is happening in terms of human rights in West Papua is the result of what the West Papuans are doing in West Papua, together with their friends, Indonesian friends, and also, as I see, it's Veronica who asked the question, together with the Indonesian lawyers today, for example, who have helped the West Papuan lawyers to defend the West Papuan political prisoners. But the word says it itself, it's political. The prisoners are political. So the issue can only be political. And we can, the human rights lobby within West Papua knows it. In their hearts, nobody wants to be colonized, that's for sure. So the diplomacy is being taken up as well outside. It gained momentum in the 70s and 80s because it was strong. The OPM was strong, and it also had not only an army to back it up, which is the West Papua National Liberation Army, TPNPB. It also had a government, a leader that was recognized, that was capable of describing and explaining what the struggle is about, which is a struggle for independence. The diplomacy happens mainly behind closed door. It does not, it tries to protect the links that it might have or might not have with civil society. Civil society is now doing its part, and we respect that very much. And maybe is now the time to also speak about the 7 who are awaiting their sentence in Indonesia. The 7 political prisoners who were arrested last year on very strange grounds. Some of them had participated in demonstrations against racism. And again, when you do something that is in your right, where you want to express something that the state has done against you. Basically, the government of Indonesia, it was a person that was part of a party, an Indonesian party, as well as the Indonesian security forces that had aggressed, insulted, terrorized West Papuan students in Indonesia. When in West Papua you try to express solidarity with them, when your heart is crying, you can't even express that because you get arrested. And you get arrested not perhaps because you were expressing your voice, but then you are arrested and they tell you you were basically wanting to secede. Very strange way that the justice system all of a sudden is working, but it's not all of a sudden. The Indonesian justice system is in danger, I think, now of showing to the world that there is a category of Indonesians that has different rights than the rest of Indonesia. And what the Indonesian justice system today, and what the Indonesian president, what the Indonesian army, security forces are saying today, is that there are two Indonesias. And when there are two systems like that stand side by side, it's called apartheid. You are not seen as an equal in the system. And that system we have fought from the beginning. Again, the people who are in prison awaiting their sentence, the sevens that are in Indonesia, but also all the others, dozens of others in West Papua who were also arrested last year and who are maybe less known, but who are going through the same ordeal. They basically are proof that Indonesia is proving that West Papua is not supposed to be part of Indonesia. So they are the Indonesian system is contradicting itself by saying that there is only one Indonesia, and they are insisting that there is two, and we agree with them. There is two. Once you get West Papua out, maybe you will have only one Indonesia. But today that is not the case. The other thing that the Indonesian system is doing is that it is ignoring the preamble of its own constitution, which says that, which supports the independence of all oppressed people. The Indonesian constitution is against colonization. And those are the words that we are basically also telling all these countries that are thinking that Indonesia is one of those champions of decolonization. It is not. It is today colonizing other countries, including ours, including West Papua. So yes, the international diplomacy is going on. It is a work that was started in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It is a work where we have had to make sure that the West Papuans themselves are the ones talking and delivering the message to friendly nations. We could not have somebody, a Dutch person or an Australian person or a Chinese person or an Indonesian person talking on behalf of West Papuans. The good thing about Africans is that when that happens, they automatically see what is wrong with your struggle, and they will ask you what's going on. Why is this Chinese person speaking on behalf of you? Or why is this Australian lawyer speaking on behalf of you? Or they will see straight away. So we count on the solidarity of our African brothers and sisters always in relation to the struggle for independence. We not only struggle for independence, but we want to be, and we want to show our independence as well. We want to show our readiness to be independent. Some people ask about military campaigns. I'm sorry. Countries around the world have armies. Countries around the world see that when a people has an oppressed people sees no other option but to rebel using military means, they will understand. As a matter of fact, sometimes they wonder, what are you guys doing? We're just demonstrating, okay? But you know, you're facing one of the biggest oppressor, which is held by the Europeans and the Americans with weapons, and by the Australians. I think what we need to stop doing is to be naive. Militarily, countries around the world understand. Unfortunately, the reason why we are oppressed is because they came with their army and they were able to control our land, our territory, and we are fighting back. We have been fighting back since then. So the issue about the military campaign is basically should be thought about if people think a bit too naively about having to fight for your rights. So now we've lost Luis, I think.
Thank you, Sister Leonie, and that was a very good explanation. As question in response to Veronica Coleman's question in regards to OPM. So OPM, the question is whether OPM is ready to take up international diplomacy. And mungkin Jeffrey mulai bisa add sedikit tentang pertanyaan dari Veronica. Is OPM going to take up international diplomacy work as well? Mungkin Leonie bisa jelaskan, explain, translate ke Jeffrey supaya Jeffrey tambah sedikit juga. Can you hear me, Leonie?
Yes.
All right, maybe I will ask Jeffrey tentang question dari Leonie, dari Veronica. Is OPM going to take up diplomacy work as well? Jadi Jeffrey bisa komen sedikit di situ.
Apa yang Veronica tanya kami tidak dengar baik.
Dia punya pertanyaan, is OPM going to take up international diplomacy work as well?
Of course.
Kalau, yeah.
Sudah pasti bahwa OPM sebagai organisasi Indo yang sudah punya link diplomasi sudah cukup lama. Yang punya link diplomasi yang sudah cukup lama, yang punya dokumen dan sejarah tercatat di PBB dan juga di seluruh benua di seluruh dunia. Kami melihat di arena diplomasi akhir-akhir ini ada satu hal yang sangat signifikan dan penting yang tidak dilaksanakan oleh diplomat-diplomat dari organisasi dan faksi-faksi yang lain, yaitu semua diplomat sebelum kepemimpinan kami itu banyak diplomat yang tidak menjalankan dan menjelaskan semua agenda-agenda dan peran militer TPNPB. Oleh karena itu, karena OPM tidak bisa menyangkal militernya TPNPB. Apapun yang dilakukan oleh militer TPNPB itu dipertanggungjawabkan oleh OPM sebagai organisasi induk. Dan OPM akan memerintahkan kepada semua diplomat yang sekarang sedang bangun dan sedang bangkit, termasuk Anda berdua sedang berbicara dan beberapa teman-teman yang lain sebagai diplomat untuk menerjemahkan peran TPNPB. Kami perang untuk kami merdeka. Kami melihat bahwa diplomat-diplomat dari organisasi lain, misalnya United Liberation Movement, tidak mampu berbicara perang di PBB, tidak mampu berbicara perang di Forum Pasifik, tidak mampu berbicara perang di Forum Melanesian Spearhead Group. Oleh karena itu, OPM mengambil alih perjuangan, mengambil alih secara tegas bahwa diplomat OPM akan berbicara soal perang. Kenapa TPN perang? Untuk itu, kami akan kembali menarik semua hasil perjuangan ini dan kami akan kembali mempertanggungjawabkan, menyatakan kepada dunia bahwa kami perang karena ini. Itu salah satu hal yang mungkin sangat signifikan perlu kami jelaskan. OPM akan take action di arena diplomasi, kemudian di arena politik dan semua. Terima kasih.
Yes, the diplomacy, of course, is going to be continued. It's something that's been happening since the beginning. As an organization, it was quite extraordinary in the past how diplomacy, the OPM diplomacy, has been successful. One of the main elements that now has watered down, where other organizations have not been able to inform or to lobby about, which is one of the means that the OPM or that the struggle is being carried out. It's the armed forces. There is an armed forces. There is a war going on in West Papua. There is military capability to fight the Indonesians, and that's why they're sending these thousands of military to West Papua. They're not afraid of people demonstrating, or of what they are afraid of is the people that are fighting in the jungle, and that particular facet of our struggle has not been highlighted lately by entities that have been lobbying at the United Nations or at the MSG or at the PIF. And those that facet of our struggle, which is basically what is our main power, is the one that needs to be highlighted towards the friendly governments, who, again, and this is me adding to it, they're not naive. People in the United States, come on, biggest army in the world. The Australians, producers of weapons, the Great Britain produce most of the weapons in the world, and you're going to tell me that they don't know about war? Of course, they're going to tell you to be pacific, to be non-violent, to be nice, and it's a way to do this. And I admire the people in the city, the civil society, who are very strong in their hearts and in their minds, especially in their minds, because they know that each and every step that they're going to take can make can provoke the Indonesians to arrest them, as we can see with the Balikpapan 7. So it's not, again, let's not be naive. The OPM is there, the military struggle is there. There is a war happening, and the world needs to know, and the world knows. I mean, it's in the media. You see that there is a war that is being waged, and you know that there is as far as we're concerned, it is a legal war. It is a war for independence. It is a war where we defend our people, our land, our constitution, and we defend our future. It is not an illegal war. It is not a war where Jakarta or Java is sending all these troops to steal to steal what is basically West Papuans, to steal, to kill, to rape, to torture, and then to arrest people just like that, put them in the prison, and then all of a sudden decide that these people need to be tried in Balikpapan out there, I don't know where that is, so that the entire justice system, again, as I said, it is being jeopardized. Indonesia is basically jeopardizing its own system. It's jeopardizing its justice system. Again, it's showing that there's two Indonesias. So it's proving our points by doing what it is doing.
Baik, terima kasih Leonie. Mungkin Jeffrey mau bisa tambah sedikit, atau kita bisa maybe Karena kita bilang 3 topik, jadi mungkin kalau kita sudah jelaskan, mungkin kita bisa end it ya, atau bagaimana?
Saya
Jeffrey?
perlu tambahkan sedikit soal
Iya, bisa.
soal topik militer, bahwa kami ingin menjelaskan bahwa OPM bersama militernya Tentara Pembebasan Nasional Papua Barat belum bergabung, belum berkolaborasi dengan siapa militer apapun. Kami masih tetap mempertahankan militer berdasarkan Konstitusi 1 Juli, dan kami masih menjalankan konstitusi kami. Kami adalah pemilik daripada konstitusi itu. Maka itu berdasarkan anggaran dasar organisasi Papua Merdeka, dalam kepemimpinan kami mulai tegas terhadap semua aset-aset perjuangan bangsa Papua. Mulai dari hak milik, hak cipta, hanya OPM saja yang harus mendistribusi dan mempropaganda atau memediakan semua aset-aset perjuangan bangsa Papua yang dilakukan oleh militer TPNPB. Maka itu jika ada media-media Indonesia atau media-media lain yang mengeluarkan berita-berita perang dan juga memakai foto-foto Tentara Pembebasan Nasional Papua Barat, itu tidak boleh dipercaya. Dalam arena diplomasi dan media yang lain, itu kami sudah mulai tegas dan kami sudah mulai mengklaim aset perjuangan bangsa Papua yang dikerjakan oleh OPM-TPN. Ini harus diperhatikan oleh semua, karena ketika kami memberikan kebebasan kepada siapa saja untuk memanfaatkan perjuangan ini, perjuangan kami akan dihancurkan dengan kepentingan-kepentingan lain. Itu satu hal yang perlu kami jelaskan dalam konteks militer. Kemudian mungkin saya pikir itu bisa diterjemahkan dulu.
One more point that Chairman Bomanak needs to add regarding the military capacity and the military forces of the OPM, which is the Tentara Pembebasan Nasional Papua Barat, which translates into the West Papua National Liberation Army. The TPNPB is not collaborating with any other entity, as is often claimed by certain parties. The TPNPB stands on its own, and it is actually waging a war against Indonesia. It is implementing the 1st of July Constitution. The OPM and the TPNPB are the guardians of that constitution, which it is implementing, and the sole guardians of it. The OPM sees all of what belongs to the OPM, which has been done since the beginning up until today, as assets of the OPM and needs to be protected. All the actions of the National Liberation Army are also part of these assets, and it will not be tolerated that other parties make use of what all the efforts and the war that is being waged by the National Liberation Army, as has been seen lately by other parties who have claimed that they were part of it or that they were also doing that. The OPM cannot tolerate that other people use and misuse and abuse what the National Liberation Army is doing, because it would, and very frankly, it would be to the detriment of the struggle and of all the work and the sacrifices of the National Liberation Army. These people have decided to put their lives on the line, and it would be irresponsible of the OPM to tolerate any other irresponsible actors to come in and abuse what all these activities and actions, which are also considered as assets of the OPM and of the history of the West Papuan struggle for independence.
Baik, mungkin kami ingin pesankan lagi yang terakhir, agenda yang terakhir soal tahanan politik dan tahanan rasisme. yang dilakukan oleh pemerintah Indonesia, bahwa pemerintah Indonesia harus mengetahui bahwa OPM sudah mengeluarkan statement secara resmi menjelang COVID-19 global epidemic, bahwa memaknai seruan Perserikatan Bangsa-Bangsa oleh Guterres sebagai Sekretaris Jenderal, kami organisasi Papua Merdeka sudah memberikan komitmen terhadap militer kami turut berpartisipasi dalam komitmen internasional untuk memproteksi semua aset-aset kesehatan di wilayah perang. Selain statement itu sudah kami keluarkan juga untuk pembebasan tanpa syarat dengan alasan apapun. Harus ada pembebasan bagi semua tahanan politik, entah itu tahanan politik Papua Merdeka dan tahanan politik rasisme. Jadi dalam konteks ini kami sebagai ketua organisasi sudah mengeluarkan statement kami menjelang coronavirus global epidemic, bahwa tanpa syarat Indonesia harus implementasikan komitmen Perserikatan Bangsa-Bangsa memproteksi semua aset-aset kesehatan di wilayah perang, kemudian membebaskan semua tahanan politik tanpa syarat. Maka itu dalam hal ini pemerintah Indonesia, Presiden Joko Widodo sebagai pemerintah yang menganut demokrasi merdeka selama 55 tahun, harus mengerti bahwa semua tahanan politik bukan hanya 7 kasus rasisme, tetapi semua sekitar 39 tahanan politik yang ada di seluruh Indonesia harus dibebaskan tanpa syarat karena 2 alasan. Alasan yang pertama adalah ini masalah ideologi bangsa, sama seperti bangsa Indonesia waktu memerdeka melawan Belanda. Sama seperti itu kami memerdeka, ini hak kami. Pemerintah Indonesia harus memakai undang-undang yang merupakan fundamental negaranya, bahwa sesungguhnya kemerdekaan itu adalah hak segala bangsa. Papua sebagai sebuah bangsa harus dihargai karena Indonesia dan undang sudah mensahkan bahwa hak orang Papua untuk merdeka. Berdasarkan undang-undang itu, pemerintah Indonesia tanpa syarat harus bebaskan semua tahanan politik. Dan khususnya bagi kasus rasisme sudah merupakan musuh bagi Perserikatan Bangsa-Bangsa, musuh bagi seluruh negara-negara di dunia. Bahwa standar kemanusiaan, manusia memiliki nilai yang sama. Untuk itu, kami melihat bahwa hukum Indonesia sangat tidak benar, bagaimana pelaku rasis diberikan 7 bulan, kemudian korban rasis diberikan 15 tahun sampai 17 tahun. Ini tidak benar. Untuk itu, demi kemanusiaan, demi demokrasi, justice, and peace, kami minta kepada Presiden Republik Indonesia Joko Widodo untuk segera bebaskan semua tahanan politik dan tahanan rasisme. Dan pesan khusus yang terakhir kepada rakyat Papua, bahwa menjelang COVID-19, kami berharap kepada semua organisasi-organisasi politik harus melakukan statement politiknya yang jelas, stand yang jelas terhadap kebebasan bagi semua tahanan politik. Dalam kondisi yang sukar ini, jika kita mobilize untuk melakukan demonstrasi dan segala macam, mungkin bisa terjadi konsekuensi yang buruk. Untuk itu, kepada pemerintah daerah, DPR Kolonial NKRI, MRP Kolonial NKRI, dan juga Gubernur Kolonial NKRI yang ada di Papua Barat, punya hak dan tanggung jawab berbicara kepada Presiden Anda di Jakarta, bahwa tanpa syarat harus bebaskan semua tahanan politik dan tahanan rasis. Terima kasih.
The Chairman Bomanak wanted to remind the public and people who have been following what the OPM has been doing, that there was a statement that had been released regarding the effects of COVID, of the virus COVID-19. That was back in April, I think. In that statement, the OPM-TPN were committing themselves to actions that, and they were answering to an appeal that was made by people such as the Secretary General of the United Nations and the High Commissioner for Human Rights. And the OPM was committing to not attack any healthcare facilities, or people who were basically healthcare officers in relation to their work, in particular with COVID-19. And that statement also asked, out of humanitarian reasons, that all political prisoners, West Papuan political prisoners in Indonesia, be released because of the effect of the unknown effects at that time of what COVID-19 could do to the populations inside the prisons. It was also called by the High Commissioner of Human Rights to release mainly the political prisoners, because they are the ones who cannot be seen as dangerous. The appeal of Chairman Bomanak to President Jokowi is to free not only the 7 political prisoners that are in Indonesia, but all of them, all the political prisoners, all West Papuan political prisoners. And we base this call on 2 issues, really. First is an ideological issue, ideology which surely the Indonesians must understand, because they themselves fought for independence against the Dutch. Surely they will understand that those prisoners, that we demand those prisoners be freed. The other issue, which is more relevant today, is that about racism, which is where the focus is today. Racism is just like any other harm, has to be fought against, and out of humanitarian ideals, the Indonesian government needs to understand that it is a racist government towards the West Papuans. That its justice system is showing shows of racism, signs of racism that is deep rooted. So on the basis of that, the appeal again is being sent: free those political prisoners, free all the political prisoners, and also he also mentioned, or he also addressed this appeal to the institutions that are in West Papua, that are basically Indonesian institutions, allegedly representing the West Papuans. They are the regional parliament, the MRP, all these institutions that are basically set up by the Indonesian government, and where Papuans are put in to speak or to govern over West Papuans. He's asking them to speak, so that they speak to their president, because Jokowi is their president, and to also make that appeal: free all those political prisoners, go into action, and make sure that your people are safe as well.
Baik, mungkin itu saja pesan terakhir dari kami sebelum kami meninggalkan layar. Terima kasih kepada seluruh rakyat bangsa Papua, terima kasih kepada seluruh pendukung-pendukung perjuangan bangsa Papua yang ada di seluruh dunia, bahwa OPM adalah organisasi kita bersama. Kami punya satu organisasi, yaitu OPM, yang masih intek dan eksis sampai sekarang. Kami punya satu konstitusi, kami punya satu militer, kami punya satu bangsa, yaitu bangsa Papua, tetap intek, dan OPM mengakui semua faksi-faksi perjuangan bangsa Papua. Kami tidak memberikan siapa-siapa, tetapi kami tetap berbicara berdasarkan sejarah dan kebenaran dalam fondasi perjuangan.
You would like to translate that, Leonie?
Yes, yes. I didn't hear the last part, but as a final message, it's a message of gratitude towards the people of West Papua. Firstly, the people of West Papua, the people outside of West Papua who support the struggle for an independent West Papua. The OPM is there. We are one organization that exists. We are one of the organization that represents one country with one constitution, one people, a constitution that is still there. We recognize and we respect all the people that have organized themselves maybe differently, but we are the ones. The OPM is the one representing the struggle of the people of West Papua on the basis of the 1st of July 1971 Constitution, and he is hopeful that we find a way out of this mess, which is the colonization by Indonesia for the past 6 decades.
Okay. I think we might end our live stream here. Apparently, Bomanak has gone off the radar, but yeah, I think that was his final message to us, to the audience, especially to the people back home in West Papua. So we firstly before we leave you all, I want to apologize to everyone because this is the first time to actually come on air via this platform, the StreamYard. That's why we kind of like experience a little bit of technical difficulties. However, this is the first time, and hopefully the next 2-3 series of this teleconference, we will improve, as we go on. So, on behalf of the chairman and everyone, the team, we apologize to all of you. But this is our learning process. As we progress on, we would learn how to handle this. And yeah. And once again, thank you everyone. And I'll probably get Leonie to translate it, and we'll finish up from here.
I also want to thank everybody for listening, and thank you, Luis, for providing this this new way of communicating and this new way of trying to spread the message across. There has been it's a struggle in itself to struggle for free West Papua, but if we do not achieve some sort of success in making sure that we are in this together, in the same way that Chairman Bomanak was also addressing those who are in West Papua, although they are part of the Indonesian structure. We are basically calling on people to be responsible with the assets of the OPM, to be responsible with these women and men who have decided to put their lives on the line for the independence of West Papua. We cannot let them down. That is the reason why the OPM has to be strengthened, and that is why the OPM has to explain to any other people who might not be responsible or have acted responsibly towards the National Liberation Army or the OPM itself, that the OPM is there, and that we are grateful to our elders for having fought and for having laid down all those contacts that we were able to use in the past couple of years. Vanuatu, that was the OPM. The Pacific, that was the OPM. Africa, that was the OPM. For us, the OPM was there before, and it is here still today. And we need to make sure we continue on that path. So thank you.
Alright. Jadi nanti kita edit ya. Terima kasih lagi kepada semua bangsa Papua yang bisa bersama kita malam ini untuk dengar teleconference ini. Kami minta maaf lagi karena ini pertama sekali kami mulai pakai platform ini, dan mungkin yang telekonferensi yang akan datang kami akan improve lagi dan bisa. Dan kami rencana ke depan juga untuk ambil Bapak Prai juga hadir, jangan kita punya pendiri OPM juga. Jadi kami sudah komunikasi dengan dia dan mungkin yang telekonferensi yang akan datang, beliau juga akan hadir dan bisa jelaskan bicara kepada kami semua tentang OPM dan sejarahnya begitu. Jadi terima kasih Kakak Leoni sudah hadir, Jeffrey dengan teman-teman semua, Ken juga dari PNG Union for West Papua. Kami akan kasih kesempatan dia kepada dia juga untuk bicara mungkin kita punya upcoming teleconference. And thank you everyone. We were not able to answer your question, but we will go through it again. Those questions that we feel that we need to answer it, we will write them down and then prepare it in our next upcoming teleconference. And I think one of the question was from Brother Frank Makunuwai. I think that's a very good question. We will try and reply to your question in the upcoming session. But anyway, thanks again everyone for tuning in, and we will end it here. And I want to wish you all a good night. Terima kasih lagi.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Papua Merdeka.
Papua Merdeka. Boleh gitu ya.